Peter, you're
Ooh.
always a badass.
I'm farting a lot. I ate a
Nice.
bunch of cabbage for dinner.
Staying in the episode. We are back to the warehouse for Blitzball Battle 5. K-Mac, more like Home Run Mac? Let's talk Blitzball. That's a good one. Welcome to the Blitzball Boys, the podcast about Blitzball and boys, but lately about Blitzball. I'm your co-host, Brendan Ruppel, along with my fellow host, Peter Del Rey.
Hey, Brendan. Finals rematch. And it went not quite as I thought it would in terms of intensity. I was telling you before we got on here, this game kind of, you disagreed, but this game kind of like wasn't as thrilling as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, I mean, half the runtime of the game was essentially Colin Stone trying to find the zone. Ooh, good rhyme. I should use
Put it in the burn. Put it in the burn.
Too late. But then after that, I mean, the big moment was the only moment being the home run. So, which was good. I thought that was exciting, like to come down from 1-0 to have a game-leading home run. Pretty exciting.
Right. Pretty exciting.
Yeah. Otherwise, these are the two teams that pitch really well.
Yeah. Dan didn't miss a beat. Drew's pitches looked pretty good. This was kind of like Peter Moylan was trying to make it sound like it was kind of like the last game where it's like, oh, pitching decisions. Who's going to know? Who knows what's going to happen? It wasn't really that. I mean, I don't disagree with Drew staying in, even though he did, give up the home run, even because Dan looked incredible. But without getting too far into it, Brendan.
2-2.
How do you feel about burning this motherfucker?
Let's do it. The old Vegas hooker is looking to steal MacFlurry's flower as Dan Canopio is back on the mound for Hookline against the defending champs. The old man must have been to Tractor Supply recently because he mows down MacFlurry with ease. Colin Stone looks nasty as ever, but just too damn strong as the only run he allows is a 73-mile-per-hour strikeout. Hookline trying to shut the door, but K-Mac says the machine is not broken. He cranks a 2-run shot to take the lead. He then comes into pitch and strikes out the side in dominant fashion, and MacFlurry Power stays undefeated since BB3.
Wow, you did it.
I did it.
Pretty short burn for a pretty unexciting game.
Yeah, I guess the length of the burn does show you the excitement level.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that note you were mentioning about the pitching decisions. It's kind of been a big story with the booth the past couple of games about when people should be sent in or taken out of the games. I was saying how I feel like even though there are more stakes in the regular season, they are still trying to get a feel for things. And on top of that, just sometimes when you have a feel for the Blitzball and you're kind of rolling, you don't want to all of a sudden stop and put your other guy in just for the better matchup. Like, I get the lefty-lefty thing with bringing Dan in, and K-Mac does feel like he can't hit against him. Apparently, we found out in the show that he apparently has worse numbers against Drew Davis, especially before that home run. But
Drew Davis.
I mean, Drew Davis didn't look good. He didn't look bad at all before. He looked great. He was dotting pitches left and right before that big home run. So I fully understand leaving him in there. It was just one bad pitch.
One bad pitch.
That's all it takes. Then it looks like a bad decision after the bad pitch. That's all.
Yeah. It's not like last game where we were literally just like, Nicky's struggling, get Dalton in there, or Dan is struggling, get Jimmy back on the mound to close
there was no struggling really.
It was a completely like a Drew can do this type of situation. There was no questioning it in my mind, at least. But K-Mac is K-Mac for a reason. He was part of that team that won the whole thing, and he delivered where he needed to so that they could be a defense first team.
Made the adjustment. And the other side of things, I guess, to go all the way back to the beginning and talk about those pitching decisions, I feel like, if anything, this is the spot where you maybe bring in K-Mac because Colin was struggling, but Colin has earned every right to stay in as long as he wants to and needs to. Right. If anybody. And it was very obvious what the problem was.
He had to get right. I mean, the problem was obviously that he was adjusted to faster speeds. Like last time he did this, he wasn't playing with the Como guys a lot. He wasn't playing in the Blitzball World Series. He wasn't playing with the Savannah Bananas, where obviously you have a much higher speed limit. He's coming back to 70, and we saw how many times. I think there was 2 like strike threes that were taken away from him because of the speed.
Yep.
And,
One looking and
both,
one swinging, I think.
yeah, and I think both of them ended up being walks.
Yep.
So, he'll get back into it.
Yeah.
But
I think
right
that's
now,
kind of why he
is-
was picking up the ball so quickly and just getting it back in the mound and throwing. I think he just, I know that feeling so much of like, you want to get the ball in your hands and throw it again so quickly after you feel like you know what you did wrong.
right.
And you want to stay in that mode. I'm like, okay, I just need to make this adjustment. Let me get back up there quick so I can just fix it immediately. It usually doesn't work. It just makes you worse. But
Right.
I also thought maybe part of it was he figured if he fatigued himself really quickly, then he would naturally throw a little bit slower.
Right.
Just my 2 thoughts on the matter. But
Maybe. I mean, you have this situation of it's kind of like 2 sleeping giants were facing each other today. Like, yes, both of these teams are pitching first. But at the same time, both of these teams can hit. We've seen that in the past, but you're looking at all 4 of these guys. K-Mac is the only one who had a 500 batting average for the game. Everybody else is way under. Drew 0 for 3, Dan 1 for 4, Colin 1 for 5. It feels like this was very much a let's shake the rust off game. Like we said, it didn't seem like it with Dan on the mound. He bounced the first pitch, but beyond that, he was, all over the zone, not missing by much when he did miss. Drew was great pitching. K-Mac was phenomenal pitching. Colin, the stuff is there.
right.
But
I think he's also even added a sidearm slider. Like when he couldn't find the zone, he was throwing that sidearm slider more than we've seen him in recent years. That I think that's a new pitch to that mix. Because last year, I think the top and bottom, the sinker and then the slicer from the same arm angle was just working so well that he didn't need to throw anything else. Sinker and a slicer. But now he's throwing a side-to-side horizontal moving pitch, which he's probably always had, but maybe has now perfected it. Oh, that's a gross song, Peter.
Oh, it's disgusting.
It really is.
What is that song even talking about? I don't even know.
Nasty stuff. About being
Gross.
Yep.
Hey.
Being Dan Rust worked.
Moving on. Hookline sinkers. Dan Canobio blanked him in the first inning. To that point, I was starting to think like, okay, Hookline might win this game, especially more so when Colin couldn't find the zone, and the run that they got was off of a swing and a miss, but it was 73 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So that's Hookline's run. And then you have Drew coming in to pitch in the second inning, doing great. He hit Colin for hit by pitch on bases on a hit by pitch. Then he got an awesome strikeout on K-Mac. Then he struck out Colin again, and that's where you're kind of like the booth. This is when the booth was like, "Put Dan in. Dan's been lights out." Drew has also been pretty good. Unfortunately, K-Mac just like takes one for a ride, and then in the bottom of the second, K-Mac completely shuts the door on 12
K-Mac doesn't
pitches.
even fully have that slider down yet. Like he was saying in the post games, like, yeah, I don't have it yet, and I'm just kind of working on it. That's why Colin said just keep throwing it just to get more reps with it. And then those reps ended up working well enough. I guess it's one of those things that's like, it shows how important tunneling is in Blitzball, because K-Mac has only ever thrown one pitch from that arm angle, and all of a sudden he's got one that does something that goes the other direction. Even if it doesn't go the other direction and like super hard, it still does. And we see Dan get tied up pretty badly with that last pitch.
3 outs on 12 pitches.
Yeah.
Really good. Really, really good. One of them being that pitch to Drew. That was a really soft roller straight back to him. One where you're kind of just like, well, what can you do about it?
Yeah.
Right?
Ryan gets that
Cullen
one.
stealing the out.
It seemed K-Mac seemed fine with it.
K-Mac seemed fine.
Yeah. I think it's good moving forward for all defensive games because we need more plays in Ryan Cohen's hands to build up his confidence. And we've seen people botch those before.
Yeah, we have.
We have. I want to take a quick moment to address our TPPs. We've been talking about how awesome we've been doing. We got to give someone credit here. real quick, begrudgingly, of course.
Peter Del Rey.
Peter Del Rey. You look
Peter
good.
Del Rey.
I hate to say it, but
I
you look
hate
so
to
damn
say
good.
it. Here's your. You did it.
Oh, no duck. Interesting.
Not yet.
You're really keeping me on my toes.
He's coming.
Believe me, I will not miss my opportunity.
He will be here.
Dan Canobio looks great today on the mound. We know he has some shortcomings. That's not a short joke. He has some shortcomings
Short joke.
at the plate. He got a single today. Nothing big, but he also swung at a pitch that hit him in the balls. But
Nuts.
his pitching is always great. It's crazy how he can take this big of a break. He doesn't pick up a Blitzball until today. God knows when the last time was. And just like he can pepper that strike zone over and over again, and then throw that Andy Pettit curveball. He can kind of put the ball wherever he wants, and it's really amazing he's able to do that without practice. It's good.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Very,
Yeah.
very impressive. Excuse me, one sec.
You got
Yeah,
me.
Dan did a good job. He tweeted at us. We told him, sorry, Dan, we're mean now.
Yeah.
But
He shut us up so far. I'll give him that. He shut us up so far. I'll give him that.
He showed us up so far, but Drew didn't. Mean.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah, I think Drew's had some struggles with the bat in the past. You know, like I feel like BB4 he
Yeah.
didn't light it up with the stick.
Speaking of struggles with the bat, Brendy.
Show us.
Actually, I'll talk about this later. I'll talk about it later.
Okay. Ooh, spoilers.
But let's see. BB4. Baby 4. I feel like he didn't have a great hitting tournament in BB4.
No, they
as
just
well.
pitched the shit out of it.
Pitched the shit. They pooped the shit out of it.
Every game they won was 1-0, and they lost 1-0.
300 batting average, and the league average for batting
slow.
average was 426.
Yeah.
So Dan had a 286 batting average. You know, they were under on every offensive metric that we recorded.
I want to say off the top of my head that Drew pulls his body out way too early. Like he's already standing open, and then he still swings pretty open. You know, like he doesn't step towards the ball. He always steps way out. And that's what I think he always has done, and I think he's still doing that. Also, more batter notes in a good way. The home run by K-Mac, I wanted to give him props for getting his hands in there. Like the up and in pitch in Blitzball is so difficult to hit. I know it kind of came in a little bit, but like Drew had been so nasty all game long, and then that was like the only sort of bad pitch he threw, and K-Mac is able to hit, especially in the warehouse where a ball hit hard can end up just being a pop up or a double or whatever. I guess he has a perfect kind of swing to get the barrel up and in on that like sort of lefty curve.
Former almost pro.
Yeah, but I think if Drew kept pitching those straight up and down sinkers he'd been throwing, that wouldn't have been barreled. But he threw that one a little bit more sidearm, so it got that lefty curve shape. K-Mac got it.
K-Mac got it.
K-Mac got it.
Sounds like it's a pretty good segue into our
player
of the game.
Player of the game. It's
Yours.
me.
Brendan did it.
My player of the game. It's got to be K-Mac.
K-Mac.
It's the hat. It's the sunglasses. It's the gardening gloves or painting gloves. I guess it's everything. K-Mac is, if he hasn't been already, he's becoming one of my favorite players in the warehouse. I just love his like annoying confidence in every tournament that he plays in. It's so funny. He cracks me up. I think he's one of the best characters in every tournament. Yeah. And he's also talented. He's good at most of these sports too.
Right.
So I'm glad he showed up. I'm glad that his home run took him into just a dominant pitching performance right afterwards too. It was great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was always going to be K-Mac. He's the only one who produced like significantly on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
12 pitches, 3 outs. I mean, if you go back and listen to our archive or body of work, whenever somebody is a pitcher and they get out of their inning with a relatively low pitch count, it's something that we always harp on. I mean, it's so important to get quick outs in Blitzball.
Mm-hmm. Don't you with the tournament being long and you have to throw multiple times a day for like 5 days in a row. Like everyone is dying by the end of this tournament.
They're dead.
They're dead.
But also like he hits the home run. That's the big moment of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He reaches base more times than he had played, or more than half the times he appeared at the plate because he had the single, the home run, and a walk. 2 RBI. It was always going to be him. Never not going to be him. Good job, K-Mac.
Good job, K-Mac.
You did it. Our
You've done it.
duck of the week.
Oh, we got 2 ducks today.
Play of the game.
Play the game.
Just talked about it. It was his home run.
It's got to be him. Yeah, it's home.
It changed the whole game. When you have a game where it's 2 pitching first teams in Hookline and in MacFlurry Power, the pitching was always going to win. It was always who's going to get that slight edge to win this. And I think I wrote in my notes, if you read it, Hookline needed more than a 1-run lead at any point because K-Mac or Colin could find their pitching stroke at any moment, and then one of them was going to get a hit. This is what they do. They get these late hits or these clutch hits for them to win by 1 run, 2 runs. So Hookline really needed more. They weren't able to do it. K-Mac comes in. Colin gets hit by a pitch, gets on first base. K-Mac hits a home run. K-Mac then shuts it down on the mound. It's the one big offensive play that MacFlurry Power has every single game, and it's what won it for them this time.
Yep.
No surprise. Congratulations to our duck of the game.
Duck of the game. Okay. New segment.
New segment, duck of the game.
It's if they're able to do this against probably the other best pitching team in the tournament, that's says a lot about where they're going to go in this one too. I forgot to mention this, but I was excited to see what Colin could do with the bat in this one. We talked about how he had been in other leagues now and played in higher competition if he was going to be able to hit a bit better. Hopefully we'll see that against another team because this is probably the biggest competition pitching-wise against him. So let's see if he can do something against a lesser pitching team.
They're probably going to play Rotten.
Okay. So
does that sound right? I mean, if the winners are playing each other, they're probably going to play Rotten. So that'll be a fun one to watch.
That'll be good.
Beyond that, good job, MacFlurry Power. Now, Brendy, before we get into our previews, I want to point something out. Every team has played once.
My fly's open.
And in this small sample size, we have like league averages for batting average, OBP, and slugging. Everything offense for this tournament is trending down big time. And like, if you had told me this before the game started, saying like, "Hey, Pete, offense is really not going to be as good as it was last time through one game," I would say, "Well, yeah, because there's an extra fielder." Ryan's only come into play twice.
Yeah,
I think. 3 times if you count the drop.
You don't count today, which also the ground ball today also would have been my play of the game if I had any say.
Play of the game. You don't get any say. Okay. But yeah, everything's trending down right now. Again, it is one game. Trevor has famously gone on record to say it takes him until the second day to really get into the swing of things, no pun intended.
Which I'm sure is sort of the case for a lot of players too. Yeah.
So I think that's interesting to see. You have 3 players with no hits in Drew, Lou, and Joe's. Lou is the big name there, obviously.
Well, maybe this is part of the story, is that all of these secondary pitchers especially have taken a step up. So there's less of a gap between the best and the worst pitchers.
I mean, we'll find out. Through game 2, I'm expecting these averages to go up. Yeah. Like, I'm expecting the next 4 games to be a little more explosive, a little more high scoring, a little more like that first game that we had. Because right now we've had no teams who have eclipsed 5 runs. 5 has been the max.
The highest scoring game was the baggage game.
5-5.
Yeah.
5-5 going before they went into the swing off. So that's very interesting to me. But if any game is going to be a fireworks game, it's going to be the next game. We got Ice versus Lovias, the battle of the ones. What to watch for, Brendy?
Oh, let's see if I have a song.
You get the first one.
How about cash register?
Oh, okay. Cash register. How about
how about this?
Yeah? How about this?
Okay, maybe this should be the official sound
All right,
of the
just every sound will be
preview.
the duck.
Okay.
Every time we need a sound, duck.
I'm going to add a duck to my board, too. So we got Levius, we got Ice. What's a weirdo pick to make? I want to say
Well, there's an obvious one.
there's an obvious one. I had heard that Jack's elbow has been a story, but he said it feels fine when he pitches, which is interesting. So there's also something he's going to throw something a little different, he said, maybe. So I'm curious to see if that's like funny business or if there's like a real extra trick up his sleeve that he's got. What to watch for me is Jack on the mound. Can he be a version of himself and look at least somewhat dominant and not be a liability up there?
Right. Yeah, I like that. He needs to bounce back big time after that first game. Not in a sense that he did poorly, per se, but just because we know he could do better.
Right.
So, you heard us, Jack. Put that on your bulletin board.
You heard us.
Prove us wrong, you stinky fuck.
Stinky? I guess we really are mean. Oh, no.
We're mean.
Go Devils.
We're mean. Mess with the bull, you get the horns, brother. I'm glad you left this for me because I want to see if Dalton can keep up his awesome performance from the first game.
Yeah.
The craziest part is that I don't even doubt it at all because he had his awesome performance in the first game came against Woogas, which is a great team. They're phenomenal. And then Dalton got what? He got player of the game honors, obviously, because he's the only one with an extra base hit. And
you got a kiss from my wife.
You got a kiss from Brendan's wife, who is, by the way, very hot.
Yeah. I hate to say it.
I don't like
but I love to see her
that.
walk away.
I don't like saying that. But, Dalton struck out Jimmy Norp twice. Who does that? You know?
And it's something about his demeanor, too. He's looked like so much more confident. Didn't he look surprised by his performance? He was just like, yeah, this is me now. This is what I do. He didn't go, oh.
Brendan and I went, and Dalton went, whatever.
Give me your wife.
Give me your wife. Dalton's a wife kisser. Get it trending. Hashtag Dalton the wife kisser.
Yep.
And not even his own wife. Him and his wife haven't kissed for years. Oh yeah, that's right. It's an inside joke. If you go back, watch our interview with Joe's. Joe's loves wives. If you love wives, Brendan, what should you be drinking?
If you love wives, drink Subtle Tea. It's the drink made by me. You can find it at subtletea.com. Use code HoppyBoys for $2 off your order of a 12-pack. You can listen to the show, The Hoppy Boys, wherever you get your podcasts. It's a podcast about beer and laughs. Beer buds. You can also watch it on YouTube. Just search The Hoppy Boys. You can also watch this very show on YouTube, The Blitzball Boys. Search that into your little search bar. Find us. Hit subscribe. We're coming up on 100 subscribers. We're at 89 as we speak. So give us another... Hold on. 3, 4, 5, 6, 11. Give us another 11. Peter, want to check that math?
No.
You think I got it?
Wow, we got a lot of views on our last episode.
Yeah, so keep it up. Keep talking to us. I think the interactions help us out as well. So talk to us, shit talk us, be nice to us, whatever you want. Tell us good job, tell us bad job.
Bad job.
Tell us our wives are hot, and listen to us wherever you get us if you don't like watching us, because I get it, believe me.
Thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate you guys doing this. Leave some comments. Brendan responds to every single one. If you want to, he aggressively responds to them. If you want to write to us not on YouTube, we both of our Twitters are underneath us. Both of our Twitters are underneath us. Mine is Peter Posk. Brendan is Ruppy Puppy. thank you. We really, really appreciate all of the support we get. We love talking to you guys. So, beyond that, Brendy, ask me a question.
You got anything else you want to talk about?
Nope. Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, look at him.
Handsome.